Thank you for tuning in. You're watching V News Daily. And now are today's news in brief.
Vice President Nguyễn Thị Doan delivered a speech at the 18th International Conference on the Future of Asia in Tokyo. Industrial production output in the first 5 months of this year rose 4.2% over the same period last year. The second Southern Land Cuisine Festival is taking place in Ho Chi Minh City, attracting big crowds.
Prime Minister Nguyễn Tấn Dũng hosted a reception for the Prince of Liechtenstein in Hanoi on May 25th. Prince Alfred is on a visit to Vietnam as the chairman of the International Peace Foundation's advisory board.
The Prime Minister thanked the Prince for his support to Vietnamese people in their past struggle for liberation and briefed the guests on the national external affairs policy. He welcomed the Prince's efforts to bring Vietnamese images to the international community, particularly in his preparation for a series of the Fourth Bridges Dialogues towards a culture of peace. The program is organized by the International Peace Foundation in Vietnam from November this year to April next year. It will bring along Nobel laureates to give speeches and lectures at conferences and meetings with Vietnamese scientists, lecturers, and students. Prince Alfred said his visit also aims to promote the cooperative ties between Vietnam and Liechtenstein. He added he will always support cooperation activities with Vietnam, particularly on education and training.
Vice President Nguyễn Thị Doan attended the 18th International Conference naming the Future of Asia in Tokyo on May 24th and 25th. In her speech, she affirms that Vietnam is on the course to become an industrialized nation.
This year's conference drew more than 500 delegates, including politicians, policymakers, scholars, researchers, and representatives from economic groups. Under the theme of Asia's role in a tumultuous world in search of a new growth model, the event emphasized peace and stability as important elements for the region's development. Differences and disputes at sea should be solved through negotiations and peaceful measures based on international law. In her speech, the Vice President affirmed Vietnam continues to boost reform and renew its economy as it heads towards the target of becoming an industrialized country by 2020. Doan spoke highly of Japan's important role in cooperation with ASEAN, Mekong River sub-regional countries, and Vietnam. She expressed her belief that with efforts, creativity, and close cooperation, regional countries will surmount existing difficulties and jointly build new, appropriate growth models, contributing to development and prosperity in the region. As part of her visit to Japan, Vice President Doan paid a courtesy visit to Japanese Crown Prince Naruhito. She said she believes the Japanese people will soon overcome challenges to rebuild a prosperous country in the wake of disasters last year. She affirmed that the Vietnamese state, government, and people are ready to do the utmost to help the Japanese people. Vice President Doan also received Professor Furuta Moto, chairman of the Japan-Vietnam Friendship Association. She highly valued the association's practical activities and assistance to the Vietnamese community in Japan.
According to the Ministry of Planning and Investment, industrial product output in the first 5 months of this year rose 4.2% compared to the same period last year.
The inventory of some products still stood at a high level, a year-on-year increase of 29.4%. The volume of unsold cement product was 52% higher than the level in the same period last year, while the figure for engine vehicles went up 56.5%. For motorbikes, the increase was 42.3% and beer 29%. Total value of ODA agreements reached $2.1 billion in the period, while capital disbursement stood at $530 million, or one-fourth of the year's plan. In 5 months, the country attracted $5.3 billion of foreign investment, equal to only 68.2% of the same period last year, and $4.5 billion were disbursed. Total state budget revenues during the period reached over 291 trillion Vietnam dong, or $13.8 billion, making up almost 40% of the total annual plan, an increase of 3% over the same period last year.
Vietnam's Dien Bien Rubber Joint Stock Company has signed a memorandum of understanding with the Lao government to study the feasibility of a rubber plantation project in the northern Laos province of U Dom Se.
Covering an area of 1,000 hectares, this is Vietnam's first rubber planting project in northern Laos. The project is expected to contribute to changing farming methods, creating stable jobs for local people, and promoting cooperation between Vietnam and Laos in general, and between the provinces of Dien Bien and U Dom Se in particular. The Laos side pledged to create favorable conditions for the company to ensure the project's progress, contributing to consolidating the friendship and special solidarity between the two countries.
Maritime security and nuclear energy safety topped the agenda at the ASEAN Regional Forum Security Policy Conference in Phnom Penh on May 25th. Deputy Defense Minister Senior Lieutenant General Nguyễn Chí Vịnh led the Vietnamese delegation to the event.
Defense officials from 27 members of the ASEAN Regional Forum stressed the importance of regional security, particularly maritime security. They said disputes at sea, and in the East Sea in particular, need to be solved peacefully on the basis of international law, including the 1982 UN Convention on the Law of the Sea and regional treaties. The countries supported ASEAN and China in effectively implementing the Declaration on the Conduct of Parties in the East Sea and working towards the Code of Conduct for Peace, Stability and Security in the region, as well as to ensure maritime freedom, natural resource exploitation, and economic development in accordance with international law. Addressing the event, Senior Lieutenant General Nguyễn Chí Vịnh affirmed Vietnam's consistent viewpoint against global proliferation of nuclear weapons. The country also actively participates in mechanisms to build a nuclear weapon-free Southeast Asia and Asia-Pacific region in a sustainable manner. He stressed the importance of nuclear energy use for peaceful purposes, saying that priority should be given to safety. Vietnam is studying a roadmap for the use of nuclear energy for peaceful purposes in its industrialization and modernization, Vịnh added.
The second Southern Land Cuisine Festival is currently taking place at the Đầm Sen Culture Park in Ho Chi Minh City from May 25th to May 27th, attracting large numbers of visitors. Let's take a quick look.
The three-day festival has nearly 90 stalls, representing nearly 50 food and beverage businesses from 20 central and southern provinces. The festival spotlights many popular and famous dishes, drinks, and specialties peculiar to the featured localities. With cuisine from the Central Coast, the Central Highlands, the South, and Ho Chi Minh City, visitors are impressed by the region's diverse range of tastes and flavors. People can also enjoy live music and take part in traditional games. I have just eaten a rice pancake which was cooked with mushroom and shrimps. It's a very interesting dish, and it's great to be able to sample dishes which you can't find in other regions. The festival is also a chance for businesses in Ho Chi Minh City and other areas to meet up and examine and discuss the region's local strengths. This year, we have more time to prepare for the event, so we opened more stalls. Last year, we had 2 booths selling rice pancakes, but this year we have 4. We hope we can have more customers, both domestic and foreign, after the event. As part of the framework of the festival, there will be a range of competitions and special culinary activities, which will give visitors an overview of the culinary culture and people across the region.
And those are the last for today's program. We'll be back tomorrow with more updates.